Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, July the 14th, 2022. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us here today. I just realized I accidentally closed out my music, but that's okay. I've got the solution for that. We're good. Another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us. As I said, got another great show lineup for you today, as always. We never won't. That's a promise. Not a lot of news this week, but we'll make it work in the time that we've got. But before we get started, as always, I got the most important question of the week. Mr. Black, how was your week?
It was another week.
Amazing.
That's it.
No more catastrophic failures of major appliances and or things on the property.
No. Everything, it's just been a week.
It's just been a week. Lots of poker this week.
Gone.
Lots of poker this week. I've been. There's one thing I've seen on your Twitter timeline. It is several images of stacked chips in plastic containers.
Yeah, I'm playing a decent amount. Winning some money.
That's good.
That's it.
That's
been
positive,
my week, man.
Holy shit! Wow! Incredible! All right. Well, my week was more time at the house. We just buttoned up the wall downstairs, so now we officially have to use the back door. There's no more walking through that gap in the wall anymore. And so we are now in the final throes of the apartment and figuring out what we are going to do to bridge the gap between now and mid-October, when supposedly our egress windows and other things will actually be in. Because unless I end up renting to Smitty, which may or may not happen right now, he and his girlfriend have some stuff going on that may mean that he won't be in the place as the first renter. Up shit's creek without fucking egress windows. So we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do in the meantime. But other than that, we're just kind of plugging along, and it's going well. We're doing well over there, and it will be nice to get the apartment done pretty soon and focus on upstairs. It's also M's big 3-0 tomorrow. Exciting 30th birthday, in which she will do exactly what you would imagine, and that's work, because they did not give her the time off after requesting a single day off 2.5 months ago. Because unfortunately there's 4 nurses working in the entirety, apparently, of Nova Scotia, and they may or may not have brought back one that's like 97 years old and been retired for 30 years, because that's the kind of situation that they're in. So no time off is being permitted for anyone at the moment, unless, of course, you are randomly attacked by some sort of crazed ex-drug-dealing homicidal maniac that's in the ward. Then they might have to actually give you time off, and maybe that's what will happen again before Em actually gets to relax a little bit, but for now, not the case. So we'll make the best of it tomorrow when she has a little bit. One of her coworkers was kind enough to take the back half of her shift so she could at least have a birthday dinner at some point. So she'll just work 8 hours instead of the 12. And then on some other sunny day that she has a day off, at some point we'll go for a drive and have a little outing of some kind to actually do some sort of celebration. That was it. Oh, speaking of travel, you did also briefly visit New Brunswick. I think you went north enough to get to New Brunswick, and I saw Kai at the water sprinkler
Magic
thing.
Mountain.
I don't even know what the fuck you call that area at Magic Mountain. Yeah, and whatnot. So that looked like you had a pretty good time there. You get good weather for it, at least.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice to get away. Chill
Yeah.
out for a day and a half or so.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into our video game news. Despite being missing in action for quite some time and caught a 9-year development quagmire, Ubisoft Skull and Bones got an extended gameplay overview trailer, finally showing everyone that, unfortunately, it is not the game that pretty much everyone that was excited about it thought that it was going to be. Instead, it is, once again, another sort of semi-single-player, semi-multiplayer Ubisoft special that has PvE and PvP elements and likely microtransactions and NFTs and whatever other weird bullshit. Ubisoft has been peddling here for the last 9 to 12 months. But yeah, people were kind of hoping that we were going to get a single-player pirate epic, because there's been, I think, between Skull and Bones and then, Sea of Thieves is not that. Sea of Thieves is good, but it's not that. And there was one other major one that I can't think of that, I said it, Skull and Bones. No, not Skull and Bones, sorry, that's this one. What's the one that, there was one that blew up on Twitch for a short period of time, everyone was playing. Do you remember that? All the major people were playing, there was some fucking pirate game thing. Anyway, there was another, I can't remember. Anyway, there's been a couple. None of them have fit the mold that a lot of people were hoping that this one was going to fill, like the gap in the system. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be that. But 9 years in this, it'll just be a miracle if it actually comes out. We're approaching Duke Nukem forever territory in terms of development time. So, Godspeed. I think the developers at this point just want it to be done. I can even imagine working on Skull and Bones for 10 years of my career and finally launching a mediocre game. I'd be salty as fuck. So anyway, I'm sure they're happy to just get it out the door. It was already relatively apparent, but Blizzard has officially announced that Heroes of the Storm is now in maintenance mode, joining StarCraft 2 and other online titles in its stable. So there was, a fair amount on Twitter of people reminiscing about the time when Heroes of the Storm actually seemed like a game that people were going to play for, long term. But it just never seemed to get enough traction for Blizzard to be able to pay it that kind of attention. And so, yeah, just a little bit of a sad memorial, even though it's not like they're shutting the game down. I mean, you can play it right now. Like, there's nothing stopping you. The store is still open. There's just not going to be new content to buy, and they'll do occasional patches for stability, and once in a blue moon, a balance patch, I guess, is what they said in their release, which is, again, similar to a StarCraft 2 situation. But this was already readily apparent to anyone that would have regularly played this game for almost 2 years now. Everyone saw the writing on the wall that the time was coming. It's just now, it's official. It's in maintenance mode, and join some others in that stable. First, Mr. Black, he dominated CS:GO. Then he retired and blew up on Twitch. Then he went to Mixer and got the bag. Then he came back to Twitch after Mixer bombed, securing the bag a full calendar year ahead of time, and blew up on Twitch again. And now, after making all of this money and clearly not needing money anymore, he feels like he needs to get back into the competition zone. The competitive headspace that anyone that would have played any professional sport, you got that you get that instinct in you. You need to compete, and just going on stream and having 1,000 highlights of you dunking on people isn't going to last forever. So Shroud, of course, for the 3 people that haven't pieced together, that's who we're talking about at this point, announced this week that he is joining Sentinels' Valorant team and rejoining the competitive fray. Which is kind of exciting. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there have been more than a few clips going around of Shroud having already played against current active roster Valorant professionals, and clowning them because it's Shroud. And he might not be 100% as sharp as he was a few years ago, it's like anything with twitchy games like this. You get a little bit on the older side, you lose a little bit of it. He can still obviously hang and wants to get back in there and join the team and maybe make a run at it. So good for him. I'm joining the many people that I saw also mention this, but like a lot of people were saying, and I had the same thought. I was like, I have never once watched a full competitive Valorant match, but if Shroud is involved, I might actually watch at least one full Valorant match in the professional scene. I played a little bit of the game, but I was never interested in the professional scene. But for Shroud, I might have to give it a look-see. It's just kind of the power of having a personality join the fray in an esport. Have you ever seen any of the pro Valorant stuff at all? You stayed out of it? Yeah.
No. Yeah, Valorant ain't for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like I almost still enjoy watching CS:GO more than Valorant, because Valorant just has so much fucking skills not from like a difficult to play perspective, but from a viewer's perspective. Like there are lots of clips of Valorant pro play where the screen just looks like a fucking psychedelic mushroom acid trip because there's like seven different like AoE special effects all going off at once to like surround the bomb and nobody knows. You're hearing professionals just go, I don't know what's happening. They're just firing blanks into the fucking gas. It's just a little too hectic versus something like CS:GO. But all the same, it's clearly still very, very, very popular right now. And again, I'll at least watch one. Whatever Shroud plays, and I know about it, I'll at least watch one to say that I've seen it happen, and maybe I'll get addicted after that, but not before. If you were considering taking your Switch to the beach, Mr. Black, which I'm sure you definitely were not, but some people apparently have been, or just going out in extremely hot weather in general with their Switch. Nintendo posted a warning online here this week to let people know, if you are considering it, going outside and playing with your Switch, if you can even see the screen in direct sunlight, which I don't know if you can, I haven't personally tried. Maybe the new OLED model, but that's doubtful. Don't do it if it's 35 degrees or hotter, because you're going to risk actually damaging the machine. It's not a guarantee. It's a relatively low risk because the machine is actually designed to shut itself off before thermal damage can happen. However, if you're playing it in 35 degree temperatures, apparently it will reach its thermal max pretty fucking quick. And if you do that repeatedly or at all, you of course risk damaging the product. So Nintendo's just like, hey, if you're gonna play this shit, don't play it actually, they gave a range. They said below 5 degrees and above 35. So, don't sit outside in the wintertime. Don't sit outside in the fucking scorching hot in Mexico playing your Nintendo Switch. Find some shade or an air conditioner. Just don't do it when it's that hot. Who's outside 35 degrees playing? Man, I don't know. If it's 35 outside, there's two modes. I'm inside next to an air conditioner or I'm in water. There's no I'm just sitting.
Yeah, no.
In an outdoor space at 35 degrees. That's not humidity. So like here, if it's 35 here, it's actually like 47. And then you just don't even fucking open a window. The curtains are closed. Every air conditioner, if you own one, is running. It's a mess. Twitch announced another actual positive thing this week, Mr. Black. They're on a roll. They're on a hot streak.
Wow.
This time, payout thresholds, which have been historically stuck at $100, are dropped to $50 starting July 15th, that's tomorrow, in a handful of regions, which surprisingly, I don't actually know if the US and Canada were part of the original, this first list, I can't remember now, but anyway, it's rolling out across other countries in time. It's just that the original list is I think there was like 5, 6, 7 of them. But it will be reduced to $50. The only exception to this is that if you choose to get paid out in wire transfer, it will still be $100 because the fees for wire transfer is too high, and so they are still leaving it at $100. But if you're PayPal or I guess a check or whatever other methods that they've got set up for payments, all of those will fall under $50. And then if you're wire, you're still going to be stuck at $100. And that's great news for like a lot of small streamers, of which there are tons. Affiliates and whatnot, they only have a couple of subscribers here and there. They don't have to wait, an entire calendar year to get their $50. They can get their $50 a little earlier, which at this point, given the price of bread, everyone needs $50 in their pocket right now because the loaf of bread is going to cost $50 here pretty soon.
Yeah.
In what or more after yesterday? What they a full point? I think the Bank of Canada a full point. Yeah, my full butthole point. Felt that one.
Oh, bro. Think about it. If you have $1 million mortgage, it's an extra like $600 a month.
Oh, it's just
right there.
What was crazy was for like up until literally 48 hours before, they were like, it's going to be 0.75. And then the day came and they were like, psych! 1 point! Get fucked!
And it ain't gonna be the last one. They're gonna do it.
No.
They're gonna raise it. They're gonna raise it again in a couple months.
Oh, it's gonna go up again
In a few months.
Yeah, buckle up for crazy bullshit times. Also, prepare for basically everyone that's already a billionaire to continue talking about how they're still making even more money in the midst of everyone literally burning alive in the streets. And somebody's gonna be like, "Our business made a quarterly record profit this year," and everyone in the streets like, why is bread $500? I just wanted a grilled cheese. Elon Musk is like, "I'm going to Mars. See ya, bitches." He's going to Mars because he's not buying Twitter at the very least. So we know that much. That did happen this week as well, where he was like, "Nah, not happening anymore. Too many bots on Twitter. I'm not spending 44 bills." You know what it sounded like? Just a small tangent here. You know what this seems like? Is he goes to buy Twitter, right? Which gives him a reason to go to the board for Tesla and say, "All right, guys, we're looking to buy Twitter. I can fork over a lot of money here, but I need $8 billion pulled out of Tesla to complete this transaction." And the board's like, "All right, let's do it. Let's go." And so he pulls out $8 billion to put into his pocket to combine with his own personal funds and then some random fucking rich Saudi money or some shit, and they go into to do it. Nope, doesn't happen. And now he's just sitting on $8 billion that he pulled out of Tesla. And then Tesla goes, "All right, guys, so he just took $8 billion out. It's probably not going back into Tesla. And now he's going to get sued, or at least he has to pay a fine of $1 billion, which nets him $7 billion. Anyway. Great news for fans of side-scrolling brawlers. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge has passed 1 million copies sold. Let's go. That is wonderful news. Maybe we'll get another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side-scrolling brawler, which I think lots of people would be very happy to continue receiving. And in relation to that, in terms of the old school, the Genesis Mini 2 was announced to be coming out October 28th of this year. So if you didn't have enough of your first Genesis Mini, I think Jeff has a Genesis Mini, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Didn't it come with the world's shortest power cord or HDMI cable or some shit?
It did.
Or was it the controller cable? Or was it all three?
I think it's all three.
I think when we played it, the controller cable is like fucking 6 inches long. You're like sitting literally right in front of the machine, and the power cable is as short. Well, good news. They're saying this is even smaller. So I don't know if the cords are shorter, but the console is apparently going to be even smaller than the original Genesis Mini. And again, coming out on the 28th of October later this year. They're going to have more games this time around. 50, apparently, will be the final number for this one. And will also include some Sega CD games this time around, instead of just Genesis-specific titles. So I have a short list of games here that they've announced thus far that are going to pop up. And let's see. We'll gauge Jeff's reaction as to whether or not any of these matter. All right, we ready? Sonic CD.
No.
Shining Force CD.
Okay.
Okay. Sylphied.
I don't even know what that is.
Mansion of Hidden Souls.
Don't know what it is.
Night Striker.
Don't know what it is.
The Ninja Warriors, not the television show.
Don't know what it is.
Afterburner 2.
Don't know what it is.
Outrun.
Don't know.
What I can only assume is the sequel, Outrunners.
Don't know.
Virtua Racing.
Nah.
Super Hang On.
Don't know.
What I'm assuming is also the sequel to Hang On, Super Hang On.
Just Super Hang On.
Sonic 3D Blast.
I don't think I liked that one, but
I owned it. It wasn't terrible. It was okay. It was just it was the isometric one, and it was kind of awkward to control. You know what my biggest memory of Sonic 3D Blast is I accidentally accessed there's like a dev menu or a cheat menu thing that you can get if you end up pressing certain buttons before the game launches. Completely bullshit, accidentally did it one day, and it blew my mind, and I never got it again. I bet you if you take 5 seconds on Google to find out what the actual fucking combo is. But back then, we didn't have that kind of access. You needed to know somebody that knew somebody who had an uncle working at Sega. Shining in the Darkness.
Don't know what that is. I don't know what any of these games are.
Vector Man.
I'm seeing the list. I don't know. I know Splatterhouse.
Okay.
That's it.
What,
all these
you're telling me you're not excited about Rainbow Islands Extra?
No, not even a little bit.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, the only ones in here that I know of or would be interested in, and I'm sure there are lots of people that have at least a couple here that they're interested in. So I know about, honestly, Sonic CD is good, Shining Force is good, Sylphied, sure. Afterburner 2, yeah, okay, I guess. Outrun, maybe. Outrunners, I don't even know if it's the sequel or not, but okay, whatever. Sonic 3D Blast is like a pass in terms of like just getting through. Vector Man 2, I know of it, but it's not like I'm dying to play Vector Man again. And that's about it. I mean, there's some other kind of obscure ones in here. But at this point, these mini consoles, they come with a lot of obscure shit because, I mean, really, for a lot of people, the list of stuff that they would like to see, a lot of those games are just unlikely to be available to put on these consoles in the first place, for licensing reasons or for any number of reasons. So yeah, there's a couple in there. But the good news is there's 50 in total. That's a short list. Maybe we'll have some bangers that pop up as they continue to announce some titles in the future. But having owned the first one, does that make you feel like you are obligated to buy number 2?
No. I don't like Sega. I'm not a Sega fan. Very few games that I actually enjoy.
So you bought the first one just for the novelty, I guess, just to give her a go?
Yeah, I just bought it just for collecting purposes, but I'm not falling for this Mini 2 shit.
Because if there's a Mini 2, you know what? There's a good chance
there'll be a Mini 3.
There's a Mini 3.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
If the cords just get progressively shorter as time goes on until you're just physically plugging the back of the console directly into the socket on the wall. New details on the new Skate game, which we saw very early footage of last week. Believe it or not, the game is called Skate. So I guess it's a reboot because they've had multiple Skates. So I guess they're just rebooting this entirely. And the reason why they do that is because it's a live service free-to-play game. It's coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC with cross-play and cross-progression, which is nice to see. Both play and progression being cross between platforms, which means if you're somebody that has, you know, a console plus a PC, and sometimes you bounce between the two in terms of when you're playing stuff, it's always nice to be able to take your games with you and not have to, like, have 2 separate files and actually progress continuously. Microtransactions will focus on cosmetics and this was a quote, or at least to some degree, convenience. Whatever that means. Whatever convenience means. Monetizing convenience could be a shitload of things. I don't know what it means yet in the context of this game. But convenience going to be monetized in the new Skate game. It's still in early development, so it's still a long ways away, of course, which is not surprising given what we saw in that early review not long ago or preview. I'm interested in how this ends up working out. How you do a live service, essentially, skateboarding game. There's probably some pretty fun ways that you could take that. But I think more than anything, everyone will probably just be sitting around going, what the fuck does convenience mean? What are we paying for convenience? If they had just said cosmetics, everyone would be like, yes, fine, all right. Maybe I'm not the biggest F2P fan, in the world, but if it's just cosmetics, great. But when they stuck on convenience at the end, now I think people will be wondering for quite some time.
It's just going to be skipping shit, just speed things up.
Yeah.
Paying money to speed things up.
Sony announced PlayStation Stars this week, Mr. Black, a program that rewards players with PlayStation Store funds, and this is another quote, definitely not NFTs. For completing games, winning tournaments, being the first in your time zone, for platinuming a game, etc. Various different metrics in which they will have to reward players for simply, I guess, participating within their ecosystem. And this is kind of similar to stuff that Nintendo and Microsoft have, just kind of rewardy programs, whether it's points that you get after you buy a game on the program, and then, you buy 5,000 fucking games, you can finally get a free one, or some other shit like that. They all have like their own little reward program situations, and this is Sony's response to that. We don't know exactly when it's coming out. It's just supposed to be this year at some point. At least, and it's not even necessarily a full release. It's just that we know that it's this year, that you'll be able to sign up to become a star, Mr. Black, a PlayStation star.
I always wanted that.
I can tell. Bayonetta 3 was announced to be releasing October 28th of this year. October, getting busy apparently, and will once again be a Switch exclusive, which is really remarkably odd to me, if I'm going to be honest. I'm still trying to get over the fact that they have decided that the sole console in which a fast-paced, over-the-top, needs to be 60 FPS, hypersexualized librarian demon lady belongs permanently on the Nintendo Switch. It's a very odd move, but Bayonetta 2 clearly did well, and so they're here for Bayonetta 3. The difference being this time around, so that all of those children out there who are playing Bayonetta, that maybe the parents were a little concerned that every time Bayonetta was transforming in combat, she does kind of get nude for a while. Now, mind you, her hair is covering up the naughty bits so that the young children don't accidentally see a titty or something like that, or, too much butt cheek. But there will now be a mode in Bayonetta 3 that allows you to just have her costume stay on all the time. So the animation happens, the hair is doing the thing, but she's just fully clothed from beginning to end during that whole deal. Go get 'em, kids. Bayonetta was so good, dude. The original game is so fucking good, and 2 is also amazing. I just wish they didn't lock it up on the Switch. What the fuck? Come on. Platinum, get your shit together. At least put it on the PC. I think that's like the current thing right now. Like, you make a game for a platform, sure, you get paid for it, but then be like, all right, but can we like port this shit 6-9 months from now, a year? Can we get it to like more people? Especially for something like Bayonetta. Although maybe they're scared to put it on the PC, knowing what the modding community would do to that game should it go onto the PC.
The hair wouldn't be covering the biddies anymore.
And they'd be bigger. Much larger. Yeah, much larger. In a move that's bigger than it might sound, speaking of Nintendo made an official announcement that it recognizes its domestic employees, so the employees that are actually in Japan, at the Japan headquarters for Nintendo. It recognizes domestic employees' same-sex marriage, despite Japan as a nation not legally recognizing same-sex marriage by law. In fact, the country, currently, Japan, is the only remaining G7 nation to not recognize same-sex marriage, though it is, as I discovered when I did a little bit of research here, cursory research, to see what the situation was for that in the country at the moment, being challenged within the country, politically speaking. So there is political debate as to whether or not they're going to continue to try and codify it as being legal or not legal in the country. But Nintendo was like, fuck that shit. We love gay marriage. Go get them, kids. So there you go. So now you can be married legally in Nintendo's eyes as a gay couple and choose whether or not to see Bayonetta's partially covered boobs all at the same time under Nintendo's house. They got a little bit of everything for everyone.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. You know what else? We've got a little bit of Mr. Black giving us a sellout now that I've gotten to the end of the video game time. Mr. Black, hit us up with a NordVPN sellout.
Yeah, we got patreon.com/legtv. Head on over there, throw some money at the screen. And if you can't afford that, that's fine. Just, it's actually not that fine, but we'll make it work. Hit the like button.
Again, 1%. One full point in the butthole.
Yeah, Adam's on variable, so patreon.com/legtv. All right, because by the time his renewal's coming up, his interest rate will be about 7.5%. So Patreon.
I guess it doesn't matter now anyway, because we're already on variable. So whether it was variable or not doesn't matter by the time the renewal comes up in 4.5 years. We're fucked one way or the other.
Okay, yeah, you're fucked. But patreon.com/legtv. All right, unfuck Adam as much as humanly possible.
Oh, you know what? Fun story. Just very short before you continue the sellout. So M's best friend, Rox, her husband, they just bought a house just before everything went to shit. They sold their current home when the market went up, or was like probably 75% of the way, all the way to the peak. So he had owned a house from like 2016. So he was laughing. He was like, "This is the greatest day of my fucking life. House is now like fucking quadrupled in value." Sold that bitch, bought a beautiful place outside the city, and their offered fixed was like sub 2.
The dream.
But she convinced him to stay variable, and now they're on variable.
Why? Okay. All right. Whoa.
Because the variable was super low, obviously, and she's looking at it going, all right, well, you know.
It's not going to go any lower. It only goes up from there. If you can lock in 2%, it's free money.
Oh yeah.
Inflation's like 8% right now.
I was like, oh no, not right now. No, this was back when they first bought. This was a couple years ago.
It doesn't go down any lower. How low is it going to? Are they going to give it 1%?
I think they were just trying to really like, you know, our difference. It was funny because the difference between variable and not for them wasn't that huge. Because obviously they're already like sub 2. They're basically rock bottom. For us, it was 115 at the beginning of our contract. 115 for variable, and 235 or 245 for fixed. So it was a pretty massive gap. And so that's why we were going to do like 1 year on variable and then flip into fixed at the end of the year. And bad things happened. But like for them, when he told me that, I was like, because if they offered me sub 2, bro, I would
obviously.
I would have been doing touch. I would have ran through the streets naked.
Yeah, dude, I saw the writing on the wall, man. I ran out and refied and locked in. I think my rate was like 2.4 on my last property, and I was happier than a pig in shit to take it. I'm like, this shit's going up. There's no way in fuck. I didn't get 2% and go, nah, variable. You only go with variable is if you're doing something short term or you suspect shit's gonna go down. But
I freely admit I gambled, but I thought I was safe for a calendar year. The thing that really fucked everything was Putin fucking speeding the process up dramatically. Now I'm salty.
Yeah.
Salty as fuck.
Patreon.com/legtv. We also have NordVPN. NordVPN.com/OTT. Head on over there. Subscribe to the subscription. Get a 2-year or more. Get yourself a bonus month for free. Use the promo code OTT. Get a massive discount. Stay safe. Stay anonymous when you're on the internet. Watch different regions of Netflix and other streaming services at just a click of a button. Guys, stay protected out there. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world we live in. And when you're traveling, got to have NordVPN. When you're at home, you got to have NordVPN. I know you torrenters out there. I see you. I can hear you. Listen. If you're torrenting, you got to use a VPN. And if you're thinking about a VPN, allegedly. I mean, hey.
Allegedly.
Hey, I'm just a messenger, all right? Protect yourself. All right? NordVPN. Head on over there right now. Grab that subscription. Use the promo code OTT. All right? I know you want your internet searches secretive. NordVPN. I know you don't want your IP getting leaked out. NordVPN. I know you're trying to hide that prawn folder. NordVPN. I don't know what the VPN does to hide that prawn folder, but get it anyway. And if you're downloading it and you're going to websites, you can use the threat protection that they have on NordVPN to keep you protected while you're out there doing the dirty. So head on over to NordVPN.com/OTT and get yourself a subscription, man.
That's right.
6 simultaneous devices. Use it on your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, your smart TV. Connect it directly to your router. Do whatever it is that you need to do with it. But make sure what you're doing with it is legal. But if you are going to be illegal, protect yourself.
Allegedly.
All seriousness, head on over there, guys. Support them. They support us.
Yes.
Whenever you're thinking about a VPN, get yourself NordVPN.
That's right. And now it's time for
movies and TV.
The trailer for the Disney Plus documentary on industrial light and magic called Light and Magic. Released this week. Looks like a really interesting watch and certainly is full of great behind-the-scenes footage from many amazing films. So Industrial Light and Magic, if I'm not mistaken, is the company that George Lucas started up when they were doing the original Star Wars trilogy, and nobody had any idea or didn't have a company to do specifically special effects or anything of that nature, and so they were like, fuck it, we're doing it live. And so they created their own. And they got a bunch of dudes together that barely understood what the fuck was going on. They started throwing dust around and blowing up models. And all of a sudden, Industrial Light and Magic was born, and now they're kind of been the cornerstone of a lot of the major movies of our entire lives, and then some. And so this is a documentary, chronologically. Chronicling is the word I'm looking for. Chronicling, but it's probably also chronologically chronicling the business.
All right.
So there you go. It's coming up. Probably an interesting watch for sure. I might actually give that a look see, if only just to see the behind the scenes stuff, because there's probably going to be things in there that we haven't necessarily seen before from behind the scenes. And that's always fun to see that kind of stuff, especially for like practical effects. That's it's almost like watching a magic show where the magician is like showing you how the fuck the magic trick worked when it's practical. Because, if it's computer, it's like, okay, yeah, it's cool and it looks really neato, but at the end of the day, the answer is, it's a computer and a green screen. And there you have it. But for practical, it's like, all right, how did we have 410 cars simultaneously fucking do a car pile up and launch this one over that one, and fucking like all of a sudden this looks like it's actually getting hit by a transformer when it's not. It's just like some giant piston with a fucking like giant I-beam just fucking plowing cars and shit. All the crazy nonsense that complete maniacs come up with to make movies work. That's the kind of fun stuff to watch. You know what else would be kind of fun to watch, Mr. Black? And it's a good thing because it's going to happen. Snoop Dogg and Jamie Foxx are getting together to make a movie. Further than that, Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg are getting together to team up for a film called Day Shift, which is all about them being blue-collar vampire killers taking out vampires in LA. Which really just seems like one giant analogy for blue-collar workers killing the rich. Old rich people specifically. Which is exactly why it will be entertaining to watch, more than just the fact that it will be Snoop Dogg attempting to act alongside Jamie Foxx. So that's going to be great. Yeah, I look forward.
I saw the preview. It actually looks fun.
How could it not be? It's Snoop Dogg and Jamie Foxx killing vampires.
It looks fun. It's just like, I hope Snoop Dogg's character's name is just Snoop Dogg.
Like he's playing himself?
Yeah, because Because can anybody watch Snoop Dogg and actually think he's playing a role or a character? Like,
no.
He's bigger than...
He's Uncle Snoop.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll be disappointed if his name isn't Snoop.
Question.
Or he doesn't have a nickname that's like, Dog or something.
How many blunts will be smoked on screen in this film?
Oh, quite a few, and I would imagine that there's even more smoked off screen before he goes on screen, because he's baked.
Is a major plot point in this film weed?
I hope so. I hope they get a vampire high as fuck or something. They need to do something. Snoop Dogg.
I agree that I think Jamie plays somebody, a character, and Snoop Dogg is just Snoop Dogg playing as Snoop Dogg. I think that's great. It's. It won't be the high art that was the unbearable weight of massive talent. But yeah, it's close.
It'll be good.
It'd be good. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power main teaser dropped today, Mr. Black. I don't know if you caught that earlier.
I didn't.
No, you didn't catch it yet. It looks pretty good. Like honestly, so I mean, it's. We already knew this because people were already complaining about it a long time ago. The liberties that they're taking with Tolkien's universe and the lore that's there. They're kind of moving like one of the species specifically. I can't remember what the name of them are. They're not hobbits, but they're kind of hobbity. They're getting pulled apparently from like the third era into the second era. They're not supposed to be there, but they're there, and things of that nature that people are like bitching and whining and moaning about. So I think for like the super hardcore, like, anal Lord of the Rings fans, they're just gonna be like bitching about it. But for me, and I'm just like a fringe Lord of the Rings fan. I think they're like some of the greatest movies ever made, greatest books ever written, for fiction certainly, and fantasy assuredly. But I'm not going to be like, oh shit, they're fucking with Tolkien stuff, dramatic. If it ends up being good and gives me a little bit, I'm happy. They signed this shit up for like 5 seasons, didn't they? Like already?
They spent $1 billion, man. They better fucking be ready.
It better be a home run. I will say in the trailer, everything looked and sounded really good, but some of the performances were a bit flat. A little flat. But then again, if you go back and watch the first season of Game of Thrones, flat was a great description of a lot of the acting, and that changed pretty dramatically as time went on, so there's always room for that to grow, but everything else looked great, so hopefully it does live up to it, and I think does that pop off this summer sometime?
I think it starts in the fall.
Is it this fall?
Yeah.
So it's coming soon anyway.
Coming
that'll
soon.
That'll be a good one to watch. They're probably, do you think, or did they talk about if they're doing weekly releases or if they're just releasing the whole?
I would imagine it'll be weekly. There's no
given
way
the size of it.
Yeah. There's no way.
Got to keep that word of mouth going, and you don't blow your nut all in one go when it's 50 mil an episode or whatever the fuck.
More like 100 million.
Oh!
And there's only 6 episodes, I think. So.
Then those are pre-inflation dollars.
Yeah.
That's like $1 billion an episode now. Despite their best efforts, Mr. Black, Amber Heard and her legal team, if you can call them a legal team at this point, were rejected by the courts this week after trying to get the $10 million verdict set aside, stating that they believed one of the jurors was fraudulent. They're bad actors. There was a bad actor in there, and I don't mean Amber, I mean the juror being a bad actor in the jury. And that was the reason why the voting went the way that it did, etc., etc. The judge looked at all the evidence that they brought, which, as you can imagine, was actually none. They just said that shit. They just showed up and were like, hey, this person was doing crazy shit. The judge was like, all right, show me something. They're like, they were doing crazy shit. Judge said, all right. No. All the evidence that we have shows that all of the jurors were vetted appropriately, sat through like the longest fucking court procession in recent memory, and adequately gave a deliberated decision. It stands. Get fucked. Was probably in the fine print somewhere.
Dude, if I never heard Amber Heard's name again,
you probably won't. I think she's gonna get. I think she's burying herself real hard.
So. I'm so sick and tired of hearing Amber Heard. She can just.
I think there will be like a period where it goes away. Then then Aquaman or whatever shows up, and so obviously there will be that, and then there will be a small aftershock of what now that Aquaman 2 is done. What about Amber Heard? And then I think it will be like she's gonna be Nicolas Cage. She's gonna have to take random shit for a decade to dig herself out of the hole, if she even gets that, which she might not. And lastly, I've got here, previously having done the work for the Pikmin short movies, Dynamo Pictures were acquired this week by Nintendo and will have their name changed to Nintendo Pictures, which I guess is another move by Nintendo to possibly be getting into the animated movie category, as they've also, of course, as we know, have other movies, live action and otherwise, in the works. like the one for Mario, where everyone is wondering what the fuck Chris Pratt is going to sound like trying to be Mario. And so this is just another move for them to continue to do that. And you know what? Sure. Okay. I feel like we need somebody else in the animated movie space because Disney bought the rest of them. It was Disney, Pixar, and then some small studios. Now Disney owns Pixar, and now it's just Disney. So, like, having somebody do something, anything, it's probably not the worst idea. And that's it. That's all I got. Did you watch anything? This week?
What did we? Right now, we're watching 90 Day Fiance.
Is there a new? Is it a new season?
It is.
Oh shit! I didn't know that we were in the midst of a new season. Did that just start up, or is it like midway through?
I think it's pretty much almost. It's either done now or right at the end. So we started.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We didn't watch any movies or anything like that. Like we went away for the weekend and stuff, so like we just haven't had a whole lot of time to do much. So I don't have anything to add today.
How was the first intro to 90 Day this season? Does it seem like it might be a banger or just kind of a mid for 90 Day?
It's kind of mid so far, but
yeah,
it's got
potential.
Got some chances. Yeah, there's a couple of couples where there's some serious potential for some. I mean, there's already some serious cringe, but like, yeah.
How fucked up is it when you go? Is there potential for catastrophic relationship failure here?
Man, I just like watching people be miserable. If I'm gonna be honest. I know it sounds bad.
The Schadenfreude is just real, bro.
Bro, listen. I don't want to watch the show and everybody's getting along and having a good time. I want to see pain. You know, I want to see pain and then, you know, a happy ending, but I want pain.
You want pain first?
I want pain throughout, but I only want a couple of happy endings. I don't, I want to see some destruction as well. Because some of them deserve it. Some of them are just like gold diggers or green card chasers or people are just, you know, so yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That is the original dumpster fire show for me is 90 Day, just because the concept, like some of the couples were just wild. Like the ones where like you always got like some really old rich. There was 1 or 2 seasons ago, the guy was like I think in his late 50s, early 60s, and he made all of his money in some business, and then he dumped a lot of his money into gold, and so he had a shitload of money just laying around. And he was looking for a wife out of the Ukraine, and he ended up like finally like he went there. He traveled there like multiple times, and I think stood him up.
I've seen that one.
You've seen that one?
And he would go in the restaurant and just sit there by himself.
And I was just sitting there going, "Oh God!"
And he spent so much money going back and forth there so many times.
Oh,
and he kept saying like, "Oh, this time she's gonna show up. Like I'm gonna see her." And then she did show up, and he was wearing like. He was wearing like this trench coat, and it was like, oh my God.
The hug was so awkward.
Oh, so
like he was wearing that Neo full-length black trench coat, and she was just like the cringe was palpable. There's definitely some bangers that crop up in the midst of 90 Day. Yeah, we haven't watched too much here either because I've been mostly like working at the house and then coming home and streaming. Back on the Hearthstone tip, because Monster Hunter was literally killing what's left of my stream. There's nobody in the community interested in Monster Hunter. So I gave it 5 days, 6 days, gave it a shot. Sorry, Monster Hunter. You work for some people, but obviously not in our community. So back to Hearthstone, and immediately Hearthstone picked everything. The life breathed back in, and we're back on Hearthstone. So yeah, so I haven't been watching a heck of a lot of shows and whatnot. There's a couple of things Em and I are gonna maybe try and watch, but there's not a lot.
Temptation Island, man, it's coming up. I'm sending you Plex info. It's coming.
Oh,
you have to watch it. You have to watch it. It's gonna be up tonight.
Tonight.
It's gonna be up tonight.
All right. Well, then, yeah, I might have to convince Em to start blocking out some time to watch some dumpster fires.
You won't regret it.
I might not. She will, almost assuredly, but I might not. I don't mind a dumpster fire, but like she hits a certain point because she literally said, she's like, listen, I love these, but there's like a limit because I work with crazy people all day.
Oh, the limit.
And
That
then I
limit's
come
gonna be hit.
home
That limit will be hit halfway through the
immediately.
season. Halfway through the season, that limit will be hit. But she's gonna have to see it through. She's gonna be like, oh, I need to see what happens.
Yeah, so yeah, we haven't watched too much else. Like the one major thing that I just spent a whole bunch of time looking at this week were those the video and the pictures coming out of the James Webb Telescope. 'Cause that shit was dope.
It was dope.
It's a fucking incredible. It's amazing what humans can pull off when we stop fucking trying to chop each other's dicks off and killing each other all the time. That's a hell of a banger, that telescope, and I'm excited to see what kind of discoveries we make with that much more resolution. I mean, it's really jarring when you get like, they have videos and GIFs of like what the Hubble was capable of and then phasing through to what James Webb provide, and it's literally like, my glasses are off, I'm Hubble. Glasses are on, James Webb. That's like the world just looks like kind of like I can see shapes and color, but it's like a bit blobbed and whatnot. I put these bad boys on, I'm like, oh shit, that Dell logo only has one L on that monitor. Fuck. That's the kind of resolution change. So yeah, that was super cool, and immediately seeing what like the initial impressions from some scientists were like one of them where it looks like there's a galaxy that's been mirrored because of the gravitational forces on the light. By the time it reaches us, it looks like the galaxy has been in two different positions at once, but it's just from some sort of like cosmic level event that moved a galaxy fast enough that we're seeing both, and it looks like a mirrored image in one part of this fucking picture, and that's just fucking kooky. You're talking about a galaxy moving fast enough for that to happen? Like, you're like, what the fuck causes a galaxy to move that quick? So yeah, there's some really awesome stuff coming out of that, and I'm looking forward to seeing some more. I followed that Twitter account so fast, I was like, inject me full of science! More of it! Getting me excited about space again, which is always a good time. And so yeah, that was really it though. Other than that, didn't watch too much. And so now it's time to move on to
tech support.
It's gonna be the shortest podcast in a hot minute. Patreon.com/lagtv. It's a place to go if you want to financially support this podcast and keep the magic happening on a weekly basis. One of the things that you can do, $10 more per month, one of the perks, asking us questions. That we, gravitational lensing, that's the term. Yes, shit's crazy. But yeah, patreon.com/lagtv. Money, please, God. $10 or more per month, you can ask us questions. It's really not worth $10, but some of you are willing to do it. And we need more.
Gamazed.
For God's sake. Danish Devil asks, any good stories from childhood sneaking into places like an R-rated movie with an adult or sneaking a girl into your house? Well, I'm sure Jeff's at least done the latter of those things at least once.
I don't think I've ever snuck a girl in a house because my mom would just let it happen.
Okay. Did you ever sneak out of one? Like if you were at their place and all of a sudden the parents got home early and you were like, shit.
Yeah, I mean yes, that has happened. That definitely has happened. I don't know how much detail I want to give.
No,
but
that's you can stop right there.
Yeah,
that's enough detail right there. No,
that has happened. But in terms of me sneaking into somewhere, shit. I mean, when I was younger, when we used to go to the movie theater, I would like pay for one ticket and leave, like go into a movie and
get
then
that double feature,
and then just walk into another movie right afterwards. Like I've done that. Like
that definitely, yeah. When I was a teenager, I remember doing that once or twice. I didn't do it that often because there were rarely two movies at any given time that I actually gave a fuck about watching.
Yeah.
But probably a couple, one or two times for sure that happened. And then there was I do remember one of those instances though. We went. It was myself and Crimp Cleveland. Went to a film with, we were going to the theaters with a couple of girls. This was back in like junior high, and we're going with a couple of girls, and there, we were talking about, what movie does everyone want to see or whatnot, and the girls wanted to see. I can't even remember what movie. Ryan would remember 100%. Like, his memory is immaculate for this shit. This kind of random information. He'd remember. I can't remember what movie that we were eventually dragged into. But it was that, and then I think the other one was, oh my god! It was like it was like some sort of like war movie or something like that. And it had a fucking a month, a name of a month in it, November or October maybe.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Ryan was like, Ryan really wanted to see this movie like real bad, and the girls were not having it, so we ended up going to see some chick flick shit. And then after we slept through that movie, Ryan and I snuck off into the next showing of that other one, and watched that. So that's definitely happened once. Other than that, though, like, man, it's like sneaking into places. Not really. Most of our mischief was external places.
Yeah.
Those were most of our mischief happened was outside of places. Seth asks, at what point during the course of a relationship are you allowed to fart in front of your significant other? As a follow-up, who has the worst farts, Adam or Jeff? I think Jeff has me beat in the fart category. Although
Maybe.
For a period of our time in our youth, we both were pretty toxic.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. It depends on the couple, right? Like, I think, there are some couples that do it right away. There's others that don't. Myself and Kayla, we don't fart in front of each other. We still don't.
That's nobody's broken the seal?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, we're human. We've been together for like 12 or 13 years. So, like, we've heard each other fart like many times. But, like, we don't, like, if I need to fart, like, I'm not going to like cock my leg and like rip it. You know what I mean? And it's not because I'm embarrassed or anything. Like, bro, Kayla's seen every part of me that there is, good, bad, or indifferent. Right. And for her, for me, it's just one of those things where, I don't even think it's a respect thing. Like, it's just
sometimes
something
it just doesn't happen. Like, you just don't do it. Like, you just
well, I mean, and I mean, I'll like, it's not like if I need to fart, it's not like I'll sit there and like hold it in and suffer. Like, I'll fart, but I won't like I won't
try to be silent about it.
I'll try and be courteous
on the DL.
I'll try and be courteous about it, and if it happens, it happens. Like, we're not like, oh, pew, or what the fuck, maybe a pew, but like, what the fuck, we're not, it's not like that. I don't know, we're just weird like that. Even my mom mentioned that, like, I don't even know, maybe around Christmas time or something, we were talking about it, and we're like, no, we don't really do that. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but we just don't. I don't know. And I've always been like that around women, like,
well, that's a safe baseline. Like, it's probably better to like have that as your baseline than immediately just going into like any like, interaction with a woman and just start shitting yourself. It's probably not like the best possible thing to do. So that's probably a good base. And I'm the same. Like, for us, for Em and I, it was just like, and I think this is probably how it happens for a fair number of couples as well, is one day it just happens when it's not intended and everyone laughs about it, and then after that it's like it doesn't matter as much anymore, and then once in a while it just happens and it's kind of like fucking whatever, right? But like, same as you, it's not like we're not sitting here going
yeah, exactly,
just like letting it go, like it's once in a while,
but like, I'm not like or I'm not like walk over to her and just get fucked. I just don't do it. I'm
not trying to actively give each other pink eye. It's just
exactly.
not. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yano asks, what are your guys' worst nightmares? It could also be irrational. For example, I fear being absorbed in a black hole for all of eternity. Great news, Yano. If you get absorbed by a black hole, you'd be dead long before eternity.
Yeah, you'd
So
be
don't
super
worry
dead.
about that. You'd be super dead. You'd hit the event horizon, and within seconds, your ass is probably going to be dead. You'd be stretched out like fucking like pasta. You'd be literally just fucked. So don't worry. It'd be probably painful and maybe not super quick, but you wouldn't be eternity. That's for sure.
I don't even think it'd be painful. It'd probably be pretty quick. It'd probably be discomfort, and then, well, that's it.
That's the show.
Like what was the question again?
Like
what if a
worst
dream-
nightmare, like what's your worst nightmare or like a big fear, even if it's irrational?
Probably burning. It's pretty bad. Be pretty bad.
Yeah, that's. I don't think
burned
that's irrational. I think that's a rational fear. Maybe not burning alive is a good goal.
Yeah. If I had to pick like a pretty horrible way to go, it's probably on the top of the list.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. I don't know if I've got which ones would be worse, because like burning, in order for burning to be truly awful, like some stuff has to kind of line up to really be fucky, because normally a lot of people pass out from like lack of oxygen before the full meme happens. The thing for me, I think, is if I had to pick like a bad way to go, I think and then make it worse, it's probably falling through ice and then being trapped under the ice, like you fall in and then you lose the hole, and now you're just in the water at the ice.
Bad time too.
Yeah,
that'd be a bad time.
That's probably mine.
But I feel it would be much less painful than being burned, though, because like you're just gonna gulp in a bunch of water and die, right?
It's not comfortable to lose oxygen and gulp in water, but neither is burning.
It's not gonna last long. You know what I'm saying? It's like gone. You know, burning can be like fuck. You know what I mean? Fuck.
True. Anakin Skywalker let us know. It's a bad time.
Bad time.
Yano then has a follow-up. Did you guys ever get skamazed? Like he said, I know I have on Kijiji.
Oh, bro. I did. I bought some video games on Facebook Marketplace. There was a person on Facebook Marketplace that had a bunch of old retro video games for sale, and it was like a ridiculously good price. And so I didn't even barter. I was like, yeah, I'll come pick it up right now. So I went down, and they're like, okay, yeah, just buzz. I was like, okay, no problem. So I get down to the building. It was like down the south end, and I buzz. There's no answer. So I go back on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, where are you at? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm not actually home right now. I'll be back in 15, 20 minutes or whatever. So I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll
just wait.
Float around. Yeah. So I ended up finding a parking spot not too far from the building. I sit there. I wait about an hour. I wait about an hour, and then I tell the guy, I'm like, yo, man, I'm not waiting around any longer. Like, I'm out of here. And he's like, no, I'm pulling up. So it's okay, fine. I get 5 minutes. I'm bouncing. So he does pull up, and when he pulls up, he's got a box, and I'm assuming it was the game. So I look in the box, I see the titles. I didn't really, because I knew I was getting such a good deal that like I didn't want to overdo it.
You didn't want to give any reason to have him back out.
So I just made sure that I saw a couple of the titles that I saw, and I knew like as long as there's one or two of these in here, like this is gonna pay for itself. So anyway, I pay, and it wasn't that much. I think it was like maybe $120, something like that. Might have been 100 or 120. So anyway, I pay him, and yeah, he fucks off, right? I don't even see him going into the building. He just gets back in his truck and he leaves. So I'm like, okay. So he leaves, and I go into my car, and I was like, shit, I can't believe I just got the score. Like, this is amazing. So I pull the games out, and when I look on to inspect like the condition of each cart, I realized that, okay, these look weird. This is off. So I look at the back. The backs are all fucking weird and shit, and I've never seen it before. I was like, I might have just got scammed. So I went home, and I have like a little Super Nintendo, like a screwdriver that you can open up these these things.
Yeah.
So anyway, I open them up. They're all fakes.
Oh,
bunch of fake, fake games. And I don't even believe he lived there. Like I think
That's just a fake address.
Fake address. I told him like, "Hey, I'm here." He wasn't even at the spot.
He brought the box with him.
He brought the box with him. It was in his truck. Yeah. So
but it was a deal too good to pass up. So I'm not just gonna take it.
That's it, man. And that's the first and only time that I really got skamazed. And I wouldn't have gotten skamazed if I would have just inspected the carts. Like,
yeah.
But I was in the mind that like, just get it and go. And I was already kind of irritated from sitting around forever.
Yeah, you've been there forever.
So I was like, man, fuck this guy. Just take the money and I'm getting out of here. So, but anyway, yeah, I get skamazed.
I don't know if I've ever, because I've not been in like a lot of. I've not bought or sold a lot of stuff online. Most of the stuff is like I'm selling it. I haven't bought a lot of stuff online.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've ever been like skamazed in that way. I mean, I clearly fleeced myself with this fucking variable mortgage, but beyond
I would say that's a pretty good skamaz.
I skamazed myself. There's all self-skamazing on the variable
skamaz too.
That's an expensive skamaz, but it's one of those things. What are you gonna fucking do? That's what do you do? You just gotta live with it. Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything that like comes to mind in terms of that. I will say though, so you'll remember last week I talked about how our oven didn't fit, and so we had to buy a new oven and whatnot. So I was selling my old one, and so I sold it. I did sell it like a day or two later, and the guy that came to pick it up came with I found out that this was like. The father of another person who messaged me about it on Kijiji. So it was her father. Two different people messaged me, but they were like father-daughter separately. Then he came to pick it up, and I didn't know until after the fact that the other person, when I texted them, I was like, sorry, it's been sold. And she was like, oh, that was my dad that came and fucking, picked that up or whatever. And it was like, my landlord bought it for me. I was like, fuck, this is you got a fucking deal over here. You got a landlord buying you a fucking new oven, your dad's coming to pick this shit up. So anyway, the dad comes, and dude, I mean, I'm sure you've run into these types when you sell or buy or whatever online, but once in a while you'll get like, especially here on the East Coast, and he was an East Coast boy. He's probably in his late 40s, early 50s, but he was like Cape Bretoner, and he just wanted to talk. And he just wanted to tell stories. And it all started with the most this tiny little thing. So we had the oven out already. We'd already wrapped it in that like packing wrap to keep the door closed and like the power cable on and everything. So all you had to do is put this in the back of the van, fucking just go. Because I had to pick up M from work, so I was not looking for a particularly long interaction for this bitch. So he comes, whatever. He starts putting it in the van, and he gets it into the van with the guy that was with him, and he turns to Dad and he goes, got coilovers on this bad boy. He's got like a Dodge Caravan. Got coilovers on the rear of these bad boys. And Dad was like, "Oh yeah, it makes a big difference when you're hauling big loads." Which, when Dad said that out loud, I was like, "Unfortunately, there's no way to not say that and not have it be a bit weird because this guy was really overweight." But he was like, "Oh yeah, it was a huge difference. It handles like a fucking car now. The coilovers," and then he started to describe to us in great detail all of the issues that this van has given him since they purchased this new van, he and his wife, because apparently the old one that they had originally, they were out on a trip to Cape Breton to drive around, and the whole family. He started the story with this. He said, "So one of my daughters is a little overweight," and then he stopped for a second and he goes, "No, both of my daughters are fat."
Okay.
It's like,
how did you not laugh? Did you laugh?
I was like, huh? Because this guy's like an easy 370, like just big boy, and and his son was there, and his son wasn't as big as him, but got out, way out in the shirt, and this guy's just a boulder of a fucking guy. And he's like, no, both of my daughters are fat. So anyway, they were out and they were sitting in the back and they hit like this big pothole. And he said, I swear to God, the bumper was fucking 7 feet in the air after he hit this fucking pothole. And he was like, our shocks were dead. Rest of the journey, the fucking traction control light was stuck on. Everything was fucked. So when they got back, he was like, we gotta get a new van. So he buys this one. It's like a 2019 or some shit. And they trade the old one in and get this one. And he bought, and he's a mechanic, so he got a discount at his shop or whatever. He bought coilovers to put on the back of the van so that he would never have his fat daughters fuck the back of the car up ever again should they hit another pothole. But it was more than that. There was a bunch of different stories and all these things that were going wrong with it, from like the fucking transmission pump to the seats, the fold-down seats wouldn't stay down, and then they wouldn't stay up, and like this 6-month journey to get it repaired, and whatever. And the story just kept going and going and going. And I was there, it was a half hour. I was standing in the driveway.
Bro, you gotta go, bro.
I was standing there looking at the clock like, I gotta pick up it. But like, he's a nice guy, and it was funny. It was a funny story. He was a good storyteller. But I was like, bro, you gave me the money, I gave you the oven, we said hi, everything is great, you told us about your coilovers, now we need to get going, your fat daughters, then we gotta get going. But he's such a nice guy, and he said, you don't want to like, because what do you say?
Yeah, you don't want to be a dick. I'd be like, listen, man, I gotta get going, I'd love to sit here and chat, but
and you know what? I tried to. After the story about the van was done, you know what I said? I said, all right, he finally got to a point where I could interject and not sound like I was cutting him off. And I said, all right, you guys, hopefully the oven works for as good as good for you as it did for us. Enjoy yourself, have a good day. And, we had the hatch closed at this point and everything. And I was like, oh, thank God. I started walking away. I walked to the back of the house. I was like, started walking. And he was like, he's like,
oh, I haven't told you about my wife.
Bro, he said, back when we first moved, and I went,
oh no, stop. I would have just got my car and left.
He said back when we first moved. I was like, oh shit, no, it's another story. It's back when we first moved, and we were trying to get an oven ourselves, my wife and I, trying to get an oven for the apartment, and all we had, a real nice car, but it was like, he said it was a 2-door Buick LeSabre, so there was no room to put a fucking oven in a 2-door Buick LeSabre. He said, I called up all my friends, and nobody had anything to help us with. I tried to call my wife's brother, but he's useless as fuck. And I was like, this dude's dumpstering his whole family. It's like, he's useless as fuck. And he's like, my wife was like, well, what are you gonna do about it? He said, I don't know, I'm stubborn enough, I'll just do it myself. So he said, I grabbed around and I bear hugged the oven and I fucking picked her up and I put her on the back part of the Buick LeSabre and I fucking ratchet strapped her in 4 different directions and the Buick LeSabre was fucking up on a friggin' tilt like that and we got her to the apartment anyway. And I was like, great, awesome, gotta get going. See you later now, ta-ta now, bye-bye then.
See ya. I'm out.
He just kept freaking going. But you know what? Nice dude, great storyteller. Somebody that if you were just like drinking around a fire, he's the guy that just never shuts up and nobody cares because his stories are interesting and he tells them well. It just wasn't the time. I was like, I need this transaction's going on too long. But the daughter part, all of my power, and I'm looking at Dad to see what Dad's reaction is, and I'm like trying to like gauge, is like, are we allowed to laugh right now? Because when he starts,
I would have.
When he starts with one of my, because the funniest part was he didn't even say 2 daughters at first. He just said one of my daughters, a little overweight, and then he stopped.
That
pauses.
part I would have smirked. I'd have been like,
yeah, it's just. I was like, okay, where's he going with this? He goes, and then he just stops, pauses, looks at the ground, and goes, no, both of my daughters are fat. I was like, this guy's a fucking clown. Anyway, so that was so no skamazing in that regard, but great story all the same.
You got skamazed with time.
I got skamazed with time. Dad left. Dad thought it was great. Dad was like, I would have gave it to him for free. That was worth $150 just for the stories.
Oh boy.
All right, let's see here. Phil, you happen to be chased by the Scream. You get to a table with a red lipstick, a banana, and a bottle of lube. Which one do you take, and what do you use it for? What? Okay. You're being chased by the scream. You get to a table with red lipstick, a banana, and a bottle of lube. Which one do you take? Oh, so it's just one. I'm going with lube, and I'm pulling a Home Alone, and I'm lubing the fucking hallway down towards the kitchen, and I'm standing at the table. And when he runs down the hallway and he hits that KY tingle for her pleasure, hits the ground, I'm running over, and I'm beating his ass. I'm taking his knife and I'm stabbing him to death in a pool of KY jelly.
I'm taking the banana.
Okay.
I'm eating it.
Okay. All right.
Get my potassium in me, and then I'm throwing the banana peeling on the ground so he can trip on it.
Hey!
And I'm out.
I like it.
I'm out.
Two different means to the same end. I was gonna say if we only use one, I was like, take the KY, I could take the banana, put the lipstick on, pretend I'm a woman, and attack him in the asshole with the banana. Take him by surprise. I mean, he's basically wearing a gown, really, if you think about it. He's not wearing pants. You know, he's got that black gown on for whatever reason. I don't know why he went with the black gown, but he went for the black gown. Not the most mobile thing. There was actually, speaking of Scream, there was a Friday the 13th related, which is not Scream, obviously, but related thing I saw on Twitter, where it was a video where they had somebody that would pretend to be Jason just walking menacingly towards somebody, who then had about a 30 to 45 foot run to a house door that was locked that they had a key to, and the goal was see if they could get in the house in time, and all but one person miserably failed. Wasn't even a knife involved or anything, just a dude walking like slow, like kind of like relatively quick pace.
That's why you gotta have one of those keypads, man. You gotta have the keypad. Get inside.
Right. That's right. Get away from those. Which like the caption was like, now I understand why everyone's dying in these movies. And now you know. You know, people panic with like with nothing to get, like nothing is gonna I think they fucked them up too, because they gave them like a key ring with multiple keys, so like some of them were like fumbling to try and find the right key. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Last question comes in from Volkus. He said, let me just double check that and make absolutely certain. Two. They're both they're short ones anyway. Volkus, what's something weird that everyone just accepts, like a guy in a business suit being regarded as professional, despite the fact that a suit means his work is meetings. So something weird that everyone just accepts, like a guy in a business suit being regarded as a professional, despite the fact that a suit means his work has meanings, or they just have a fucking dress code.
I mean, not only that, I mean, I think a man that wears a suit is...
A man's fashion's limited, all right? Just you gotta cut us some slack.
Yeah, but I also think that if you're seeing a man that wears a suit, you're it's the way that he presents himself. I mean, if I know it's cliche to say, but like, if somebody were to see a guy in a suit and then a guy that is just wearing sweats and a sweater or whatever, you take the guy in the suit a little bit more seriously in terms of professionalism from how it doesn't mean he's more professional.
No,
but it
changes your first impressions.
Exactly. It's a first impression, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can wear a suit. But yeah. So what exactly was the question?
So what is something weird that everyone just accepts? Just something that everyone accepts, even though it seems a little weird. I don't know if I can think of anything off the top of my head, like for myself, that like for this culture, but I do know, like, as a bit of culture shock, for Marcel. So in the Philippine culture, so if it's our birthday here, right? All of our friends, your friends take you out, treat you to dinner, you're having your drinks and stuff. You're not paying for anything. They're giving you gifts, etc., etc. In the Philippines, that shit's flipped. you're taking your friends out. You're buying them little gifts and shit here and there. You're the one spending the money on your birthday. It's in the complete reverse, and so that's an interesting thing that everyone just accepts on that side. That always sends me for a bit of a fucking loop. Because if it's your birthday, shit, usually over here, everyone's celebrating the fact that you're still breathing. But over there, it's like, oh, thank God, I've got like 17 friends, which means I have like at least, on average, one per month where I'm getting taken out by somebody.
Nice. Just get more friends. You just need more
that's
friends.
it. Just everyone's friends now. Getting the friends in.
Sheesh, things I think is weird. We just accept it. I think old people still being able to drive without being re-examined.
Retest.
I think that's pretty fucking weird, and it's just something everybody accepts. I mean, how many times have we seen, and I think everybody can relate to this, you're driving, and there's somebody literally going like 40, like, they're going way under.
Yeah.
And you're like, this person's going to be old for sure. You drive past, and they're...
In fairness, I've also seen relatively young women that are just terrified of driving in that exact same position.
Yeah.
But it is usually an elderly person, yes.
Yeah, but I think if you are, I'll just throw a number out there. I think if you're like 75 years old, there should be like a mandatory retesting to get your driver's license renewed. Or like once you turn, say, 75 and it expires, you have to go through a test in order to continue that for another, say, 5 years. Like maybe every 5 years you have to get retested. Every year, probably not. It's a little excessive.
That's excessive, yeah.
But I think every 5 years when you turn 75, just to make sure like you can see that you got cognitive skills, that you're not like, got dementia or something, and you're just going out and doing whatever, like just something along those lines. I'm not saying that older folks can't drive. Plenty do, and they do phenomenally. But I just find that a little weird. You never get retested? Ever? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. How about tipping culture in North America? Because it's not a thing almost anywhere else in the world. It's pretty exclusive to North America, and the result is, because it's accepted, a lot of the base wage that servers get is at or below minimum, because the assumption is there are tips involved, and it's all because everyone just kind of accepts tipping culture as a thing. So I think that's an interesting one.
I don't think that's weird. I think what's maybe weird is jobs are not paying the minimum wage, and when they should be paid minimum wage, and then get tips.
Well, I just mean as like a whole, because it's all connected, right? The fact that people do tip because they know that servers are underpaid, so if they're good server, they tip accordingly for that, and if it was, if they were getting paid what they're worth, then tipping wouldn't necessarily be as
too, right? Like in Canada, you get minimum wage even when you're a server. You don't get $3 an hour. Like you're getting $14 an hour.
The States is definitely really bad for that.
In the States it's bad, but here in Canada, when you're a server, you're still getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah. Last one comes in from J Kim. If you could master any fighting technique from any game, which would it be? Jeff's gonna go for Eddie. Eddie from Tekken.
I'll go with that. That's fun.
Little capoeira, Brazilian.
Yeah.
Wait, no, capoeira is not Brazilian, is it? I can't remember anymore. That might not be Brazilian. That might be like an islands thing. Man, from any fighting style from any game. I think what was her name from Dead or Alive? She had like the silver fucking bob cut or whatever the fuck. She had a crazy fight style. Was it Christine? Was that her name? I can't remember. She had a pretty crazy fight style. And then other than that, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All of them are kind of like whatever. Other than I don't know. Give me Zangief, a suplex everyone all the time. That'll be the solution to the problem. Or what's his name? That's not physically possible, but you know what's his name from Street Fighter that's got like the stretchy ass arms. Friggin'
Blanca or whatever his name is.
No, not Blanca. Blanca's the little gremlin
that's
fucker.
the gremlin dude.
Yeah.
The fuck. I forget his
There's
name.
A B
now.
in there somewhere, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, I
not
think that's
Blanca,
why.
but
Yeah.
oh my God, what's his name? Chat's gonna have to get there at some point. Come on, chat. You're on a 30-second. Oh, it's not even a B. It's Dalsim. Where are we going with B?
I don't fucking know, bro.
You know where we are going though? Off into the sunset, because that's the end of another technical alpha. Mr. Black has got arrangements at 6. It's 10-2, and we got nothing else to talk about anyway. Great timing. Had by all. We'll see you guys next week for another Tech Alpha podcast. Thank you so much for stopping by. We do greatly appreciate it, and bless you for continuing to support us on Patreon to keep the wheels on as we continue to forge on. And until we see you next week, thank you once again. Stay safe out there, and peace.
Peace.